VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Loaded over the next 4 hours. Of course, we'll recap what took place yesterday in the National Football League. We'll look ahead to the opening numbers of Week 15 coming up this week. We have a big Monday Night Football preview several times and a full hour at the end of this show. We're going to hang around with Humans and Van Tobel. And we will hit college football plenty with what happened in the committee rankings yesterday, the playoff seedings, and the opening point spreads numbers and props, by the way, up the wazoo.
Damn right.
Which are phenomenal. And Brett McMurphy, who broke the news, 20 minutes before the broadcast yesterday that Bama was out, SMU was in, coming up in 30 minutes.
The ultimate flex, to stick it to his former company as well. The first leak in the 11-year history of the playoff.
That was pretty strong. By the time I saw that tweet, he had 2,600 retweets by the time I saw it. And it didn't take long. And he was spot on. Imagine you get that information. What's that conversation like? Are you sure?
Yeah, you better.
You're not BSing me now, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tweet this out in 10 seconds. I'm going to hit submit.
Mm-hmm.
You're positive.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I trust you. You got it right.
Better, yes.
He controlled the market. As soon as he tweeted it out, the betting market for national title came off the board.
We could do an hour on that and what some books put up Saturday night. SMU was as high as 2,500. Come on, you're only going to get one-way action on that.
Yeah.
Tinfoil hat guy, we all live and breathe. Plus, who was going to lay that? You couldn't feel confident, even though it was a close game.
I lost a bet on one of the biggest juice bets I've ever made. Alabama, $5 to make the playoffs. Doesn't taste very good this morning.
Mm-hmm.
But
my condolences, Mitch.
I don't even, there's no
love
pain
it.
here.
Love it. Yeah, I love it. This is the one time I like to delight in the misfortune and misery of others. And that's ESPN and Alabama people.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, good. No more mulligans. Win your games.
All right. So how many mulligans are the Chiefs going to get this year?
15 in a row, Mitch.
Paul, this is just silly.
Yeah.
Are they really going to win the AFC?
As I tweeted after the game, it's the most incredible stat I've seen in 40-some years watching sports. The Chiefs have won 15 consecutive one-score games. The Chargers have lost 11 in a row, decided by 3 points or fewer. Mathematically impossible.
Think about that.
Think about it,
The
right.
Chiefs have not covered a game in 7 straight.
Yeah, and then the doink, and that goes their way as well. So still, probably not going to happen. Still thinking of the 16-1 scenario and Andy Reid, 25-1, Coach of the Year, after the McDermott nonsense. But this is, I don't know how it continues. How can they do this? Again, it still feels like Philadelphia from last year. The wheels are going to come off. They know it. But with Mahomes, he can make every big play. He knows just get the first down, take the knee, finds Kelsey. And you think they were going to blow him out? And they just, it's ridiculous. I mean, fatigue up the yin-yang. But again, they find a way to do it. Every single week, I can't take it.
I could not understand what was going on last night with the play calling. Because Pacheco on the first drive had, 6 carries or 5 carries right away in the game. And in the first half, it was 6. They completely, I don't even know if he's on the field. And then, for example, when the Chargers took that 17-16 lead and they botched the kickoff, Chiefs get the ball at the 40-yard line. You should come out and just establish Pacheco yet again. The guy runs like a maniac. Chargers were having a tough, and they go pass immediately on the drive. And it was not working. And I'm thinking to myself, have you lost your minds yet again? And you have to manipulate the clock here perfectly, and they did eventually.
I know.
But you could have done that right away by getting the running game going. They're like, nope, we're going to come out there with Mahomes, or we're going to, pass the ball down the field. It's like, what is going on? So you're not only, coming down to the wire in all these games, but the play calling question marks now too. Really coming into 13-0 at halftime, probably fortunate to be there. But how many times did the Chargers pin themselves in a bad situation? With their drives that they had going on. But here's the thing. So Buffalo beat them early on in the regular season when it was in Buffalo, which they do. Buffalo beats KC in the regular season. With Josh Allen, they have proven otherwise in the postseason. Will Buffalo go to KC in the snow in January and win? You trust the defense that we watched yesterday and we've seen over the last month or so with Buffalo?
I trust the Ravens to go in there and win more than Buffalo.
I might be with you
Because of the history, and all of a sudden the defense is a travesty.
I think you might be
what
right
happened.
with that. Yep.
And it's got to happen. We watch this. We're sports fans. You can't win the luck factor every single week. It's got to end at some point. So it's still the door's open for the Steelers, maybe. See, with that game on Christmas, first things first, they have to beat the Eagles.
Right.
They look great with Russ. People want to make a case for the Steelers. But I tell you, I have to feel good if I'm a Charger fan and I'm Harbaugh. Nasty defense. You got people out. No McConkey. I really like their chances when you get Dobbins back and you get McConkey back, what that can look like
Agreed.
as well. Just 2 close losses, can't find a way to get it done. But you're right there. But that was an easy ticket. That was a 60-cent move in the summer, $1.90 up to $2.50. And for the 9th year in a row, they win the division. And that was free money to me. And
Opened up, I think, as short as -$2 and -210 way early in the summertime.
Yep. So that cashes. But I'm telling you, and I know they have Mike's and Derek's Blackjack Celebrity Invitational for the high rollers coming up later in the week. They do it every year. I know we did this in the summer. We can revisit it. There's a lot of teams that can win the Super Bowl just based on what you see with the injuries. A.J. Brown getting upset after the game. Kansas City has issues. The Bills couldn't stop anything. Sam Darnold's a machine. How good Baltimore could be. The Steelers are good. This thing's wide open.
So if you were picking in a snake draft right now with a free roll to win the Super Bowl, how low would you have to be to take the Chiefs? And I'm talking about a team that, who knows, could be 16-1 with the 1 seed. Would you take them in the top 5? And this goes based on numbers, too. They're plus 425 to win the Super Bowl at Circa. I don't think I'd take them top 5.
No?
I don't think I would.
Look for better value.
And that they could easily win the whole thing again. Who knows? I
Yep.
mean, the way that this is going on, it's nonsense. But
It is. I know.
I think the Ravens at 11-1. I mean, because you want to find the winner here is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's tough for this team again to picture them doing it. So if they get the 1 seed, and now it's a 2-game lead over the Bills because they couldn't get their act together in that game yesterday against the Rams. Are they going to lose? They don't lose 1 game. Are they going to lose 2 before the end of the season and not get the 1 seed? Probably not.
Mm-hmm. But Baltimore figures they have a great chance to win, even if they're on the road and they don't win the division, and then they go to Kansas City. Well, what are they, a 3-point underdog?
Yeah, it won't be much.
I mean, right. If they're
I don't
laying,
even think it's that much.
Yeah, I know. If they're laying 4 to the Chargers, I give the Ravens an excellent chance to win that game and end this nonsense finally.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, by the way, with the what happened at the end of the Bills game. And I was watching it live yesterday with the audio up and Tom Brady, who was losing his voice at the end of the game. I will say, and I have not watched a lot of Tom Brady games with the volume up this year, just for no reason whatsoever. Just it hasn't been on. He was awesome on the broadcast in that final drive in the final minute at the goal line.
Yep,
he
saw the whole thing.
He called it out as it was happening in real time. He's like, "What are you guys doing here? Now it's all set up for you on a silver platter here. You have the ball at the goal line. You have 3 timeouts left. You cannot run the football here with Josh Allen. If you do, you're probably going to take a timeout, and then the whole thing is off. Then you screwed up the entire game. And by the way, it was beautiful because the Rams missed the extra point.
Yep.
So if you got to stop, you can make a 60-yard field goal. That's the ball game, 45-44. How McDermott and his staff screwed that up yesterday eliminates him from Coach of the Year consideration, in my opinion.
I agree.
That bad.
That's high school stuff. The time doesn't matter. Who cares about the 10 seconds? Now, you throw the ball, Brady's right. But once you fail on the sneak, you have to go onside by calling that stupid timeout. Who cares about 10 seconds? Once you call the timeout, and it's like, 2% to get the onside kick, the game's over.
Changes everything.
The game's over once you call that timeout. That's awful. Moronic. Ridiculous. High school. Can't happen.
Throw the ball 3 times.
Come on.
Don't use a timeout. Have all 3 of them after you score, in theory, if you do. And then you can get a stop yet with the ball back. Bass has proven he can make a 60-yarder at the gun.
Yep.
It's indoors. You're down by 2. How do you screw that up?
Yep.
How?
Terrible.
It's baffling.
He couldn't wait to call the timeout. Comes running off the sideline. It's like, someone tackle him. Don't call a timeout. So you watch this stuff every Sunday, and it blows my mind. That was horrific. The Jets thing was worse. They're in field goal range with a minute left. The Miami only has 2 timeouts. They throw it to Adams. He goes out of bounds. I mean, the people who had Miami and Survivor, my God, Christmas came early.
Yeah,
but this stuff delivers every week. I can't get enough of it between the buffoonery, the bozo play calling stuff, and then Survivor, and it just, oh, man. And the Kansas City shenanigans. It's too good.
Well, to tie it into Survivor and the $3 million bet taken at Circa on Philadelphia, Xavier Leggett. How does he drop that pass?
It's 1st and goal inside the 5.
Yeah, and the game's
That's
not
right.
over.
Yep.
There's like 44 seconds left, but you have a very good chance of winning that game if you're Carolina.
Right, and that's on Sirianni, though, too. If you don't trust the guy to make a 50-yard field goal, get a different kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was a great job by Bryce Young to go 90, backed up the play on 3rd down.
Sure.
Incredible, and that's a great story. He's turned it around. And it also helps he has Thielen back, who's a beast. But if you're not going to try a 50-yard, he missed again, by the way, and then he wouldn't even try it to go up 9 because he was afraid he was going to miss it again, took the delay a game and punted. Get a different kicker then.
How about that for a sweat? Imagine either way, $3 million, or you had them, the 11 people here at Circa who had them on in Survivor. You thought for sure when that pass was made, Leggett came down with the pass. You couldn't tell in real time. It looked like it was good.
Yep.
And you're like, oh my God,
Yep.
I'm going to lose it on this game.
Yep.
And Carolina, they were gamers the entire time yesterday.
They hung in there. That was
good
on
job
me,
by Canales.
It's a bad job by me. That's a horrible spot, though, for the Eagles sandwich game because you have the Steelers coming up.
Yeah.
But still, Carolina hung in there. They've covered 5 in a row. They're favored for the first time in 33 games.
Oh, by the way,
against the Cowboys.
Taking money, too.
Yep.
Up to 2 here at Circa.
2 people also were on the Saints. How about that finish? How about that finish? Oh, God.
Well, how much more on the Giants a little bit later on. That's
man.
actually, if you're a Giants fan, it's the perfect way to lose a game. You don't want them to win that game in overtime. No, you want to be picking number 1 or number 2 in the draft for sure. Up next, point spreads, totals, props, futures, college football playoffs. DraftKings got very creative with their props. They're great. We will discuss next here on VSiN.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big. We go all night. And here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Coming up Monday on Follow the Money, we'll recap a great weekend in football, and we'll know the playoff games in college football. Nick Bogdanovich to give you the opening numbers. Follow the Money weekdays, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to see who at VSiN is on a hot streak? Go to VSiN.com/picks to see all the selections and weekly leaderboard of VSiN hosts, writers, and guests. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber and get every pick sent to your inbox daily. Just head to VSiN.com/pro.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes, Brett McMurphy, who broke the story, 20, 30 minutes before the show yesterday on ESPN, that SMU was in the playoffs and Alabama was out. And boy, oh boy, did he nail that one. And as you said in the first segment, to stick it to his former employee. You think that they were happy when they saw that tweet come across? And Reese Davis kept saying yesterday on the broadcast, only one guy in graphics. He's it. He's the only person who knows. Actually, Brett knew as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he had it before everybody else.
Yeah, got someone on the inside. Yeah, tough day for Heather Dinich, too.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
I will say this about the path overall to a championship. What are we doing here with Oregon? Are you kidding me? They are the only undefeated team in the country, and they get this path where they're going to get the winner of Tennessee, Ohio State. They might have to play Texas in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
And then eventually Georgia and Atlanta.
Hello.
Are you serious?
Yeah, major changes are coming. So Alabama can cry like the babies that they are all they want. But there's going to be big changes. So we'll see if Arizona State and Boise can hang. With you have a great chance with those two running backs and how hot they are, especially Arizona State forks up. But between that 4 seed, Boise 3 seed, the byes, and how it played out, I mean, what was the incentive for Oregon to get the 1 seed? Okay, well, they got a week off. Well, so did Tennessee and Ohio State. And then they also have to move this where at least give me a home game. I get a week off, I get the bye, and then we're playing on a neutral and probably a pick'em game, maybe 3, something like that. And then if I win that, I might have to take, like you said, Texas on what would be in a road game. Yeah. I mean, what was my incentive to go undefeated and get the 1 seed? Yeah. I'd rather be Penn State.
So would I. Look at that path. They get SMU. Now, they might lose to SMU. Who knows? But there's a possible path here where they get SMU and then Boise State. And if they win, they're right now at DraftKings, they have number of wins by every team in the bracket. They have Penn State 1.5 over is higher than $2. So think about that. It's a 2-team money line parlay, basically. SMU and Boise State, it's higher than $2 is what you're paying out right now.
Yeah.
The rollover actually might be a better idea to do that. However, that does make a lot of sense. Where teams in the quarterfinals with the bye, they should have home games as well. And then the neutral games, if you want, semifinals and then the championship, and then we're good to go. And this is where I think it's going to expand to 16.
Oh, no.
I think it will eventually. And then the top 8 teams in the country will all host home games. Like Oregon will not get a bye under this. Boise won't get a bye. But these teams right now, top 4, and then others will get the home games as well.
Yeah, well, you want to expand it, okay. But that's going to be problems too. But the other thing, and I know Swarbrick, the Notre Dame AD, told the committee this and all these people when they were putting this together, you are going to kill yourself with these conference title games. Get rid of them. And they wouldn't listen to them. So that's another thing they'll have to look at, where you just, the greedy bastards that they are, it's like, well, we have to keep conference games and we got to keep title games. And it's like, okay, well, why don't you get rid of the conference title games and then go to 14? Problem solved, more money for everybody.
Right.
But it's just like there's so many issues that you're going to have with this, not to mention this will never go away because it's their fault. Because they wanted to go to 16-team conferences and on balanced schedules, you're going to have a situation like Texas and like Indiana where, whoops, I didn't play anybody good this year. And I just happened to get in and go 11-1.
Sure.
So
and I got another one for you, too. Had Georgia lost the game in overtime, precedent was set last year. They're not in, are they? The SEC had to punt on Georgia this year, right? There's no way that Carson Beck's going to play. He's going to miss at least one of these games, is he not? And I know that the common thought here is that Kirby Smart's going to lie his ass off, which would be the smart thing to do, and tell everybody, no, he's fine. He's going to be good to go. Yeah. Had Georgia lost that game in overtime and Carson Beck was injured like he is, people are thinking it's a UCL. I got to tell you, I would have been outraged had the committee put him in based on what they did to Florida State last year.
Yeah, right.
You already set the precedent.
I know. But then you have guys like Herbstreit saying, wow, it's impressive how many points they've scored with a backup and they're moving the ball. Well, they scored the same amount of points as Florida State did.
That's exactly right.
And you were ripping Florida State about how it looked, and it didn't look good. It just, okay. But I loved every minute of it. It's like, it was embarrassing for the sport, but all 6 guys on the broadcast are like, their dog just died. And then you got Saban on there wearing Alabama colors saying we.
Well, actually, Booger McFarland was the one guy out of the gates, and I can't believe Herbstreit called him out. He goes, are they going to do brand by putting Alabama in? Or are they going to do the right thing and put SMU? They went to Herb Street. He goes, I can't believe that Booger said that. What do you mean you can't believe he said that? He goes, Herb Street called it low-hanging fruit. You're taking a shot like Booger like that out of the gates. Booger's spot. That's the whole storyline, Kurt.
Oh, I missed that. What?
Clown.
Oh, my God.
I can't believe he made that comment.
Oh, I had it muted because
I got to tell you, that guy, losing a lot on him.
Yeah. I was just pissed off. It took half an hour to get to the actual brackets.
Oh, of course.
They throw it to Saban. He talked for 5 minutes straight. I muted it. Once I heard the I said, I'm out. That's
the first two guys they went to him like, can we just please get by Saban and Herb Street with talking about how Alabama has to be in? Can we get to who's actually in it? Well, I knew because McMurphy tweeted out to stick it to him.
Yeah.
But 33 minutes into the broadcast, they finally got to it, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Maybe we should see more about his new puppy that he's got.
Pete now.
Trot him around a little bit more.
Is it Peter? Yeah, you got the new dog.
Nice. Nobody's ever done this before. Yeah, fresh idea.
Took Ben's spot. Do you have any other issues with the seeding? Don't you think Notre Dame should have been 5?
Well, do you want to drop Texas?
Yeah, I mean, Texas.
That far? I mean, they dominated the game after they lost in overtime to the SEC title game.
Yeah, you can't lose that game. They blew it. You beat Texas A&M. That's it. The other thing is, could you have Ohio State ahead of Penn State? It was a bad loss losing to Michigan, but they won at Penn State.
Yeah.
I could have moved Ohio State up there, but I know it was tough about what you're going to do with 5, 6, 7, and 8. That was a tough call. But how they decided to do it, and then who was going to get 12, who was going to get 11. But they certainly got it right, and Alabama can cry all they want. They should have been disqualified, as you said, once they got their asses kicked at Oklahoma. That was it.
Here's my biggest problem, I think, is that the chairman committee, the chairman of the committee, came on yesterday, and he kept saying, he repeated himself 3 or 4 times, and that is they had to really consider SMU over Alabama because of how they finished the game. I hate that part, because if they didn't make a comeback in the fourth quarter and lost by 17, you're telling me that they're out? Because it didn't look pretty?
Right.
Where is that metric? Where is that in the criteria? You lost a close game in your conference title game, so you're in, but if you lost by, 14 or more, you're out? Who comes up with this? Right? Where is that in the fine print? That doesn't exist. That would be all about eyeball test. And I said over and over and over again, if these teams lose in their conference title game, and they're in right now, they have to be in already. And I can't believe they actually did the right thing, but I firmly believe that bet that I made on Alabama at -$5 to make the playoffs, that's a winner if SMU loses by 14 or 17 points, and that's ridiculous to my opinion. I still should have been a loser on that.
The opinions were also all over the place once the game ended. One book opened SMU -2,500 to make the playoff. It got down to
$3.50?
$3. And then right before airtime at ESPN Bet, SMU went from $3.50 to $1,500. Probably coincides with McMurphy's tweet, and then the cat was out of the bag.
Yeah, right.
And then Alabama was removed from the futures market. But everyone seemed to agree, though, once they had the huge comeback, you lose on a 56-yarder at the gun, you're not going to penalize them. It was a bonus game. You can't penalize them for that. But I still think they were the better team. The stage was too big. They weren't ready coming out, and Jennings had 2 careless turnovers. Yeah. But they certainly outplayed them in the second half. And I don't know why Lashley didn't go for the 2. You're in at that point. Might just go for the win.
I agree.
Then the kickoff coverage, and then they give the kid credit. He nails it.
And by the way, if you don't think that I'm telling you right now that the path for Oregon is difficult, DraftKings has a prop up again on wins for all these teams. It's half a win, over is -130. Think about that for a second. Half a win for the number 1 team in the country, only undefeated team. And their prop is to win a half a game, and the over is -130. That's absurd to me.
I'm with you.
And Penn State's path, again, over 1.5 -$2. Think about that for a second.
Right. The other thing, an SEC guy doesn't get this, and you saw the Alabama AD. Whoa, SOS. No. This should make you go out and schedule difficult non-conference games. When you blow conference games to bad teams, then you have to have something in your back pocket about, SMU played a better non-conference than Alabama, so stop with that. But number 2, don't lose to Kentucky and Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. Right. That's why you're left out.
Sure.
The opposite should happen. Oh, we're not going to play anybody now. No, actually, you should do the opposite. Say, well, we lost 3 games, but still we're going to get in because we scheduled a big boy in the non-conference and had some big wins.
Those teams are nobodies in their own conference. They sucked.
Yeah.
And you lost, so you're out.
Yep. Gotcha. Looking to bet smarter? VSiN has the perfect holiday gift. Holiday special today. Everything we do through May 1st, $79. Every best bet, every host, every guest. DraftKings Circa with the betting splits, the dog videos, and the betting guides. College football playoff guide coming soon. We're kicking it off in Notre Dame, and it's going to be cold. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it now, our holiday special. Tell your friends, great gift.
By the way, Indiana might very well go there and upset Notre Dame. If they don't, I like Notre Dame's path.
Oh, yes.
I think they can beat Georgia in the second round.
Absolutely.
We'll talk to the man who broke the story yesterday before the show, Brett McMurphy, Action Network. He made sportsbooks take down the entire market yesterday with that tweet.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
is Follow the Money on VSiN.
This guy was probably popping bottles yesterday.
Damn right.
Brett McMurphy joins the program, SEC Network. He had the tweet yesterday morning out here, Pacific time. It was 8:58 a.m. Breaking, SMU is in, Alabama is out. And wow, was he right? Brett, thanks for the time. He joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Can you just take us through like the conversation with that? So you're getting ready. You get the information. You probably like draft it, put it up on Twitter, ready to hit send. You're like, you're positive? Now you're not pulling my chain on this. 100% I can hit submit, right?
Yeah, well, actually, Mitch, there's like 4 people that if they text me right now and tell me that the world's going to end, I will tweet the world is ending. That's how much I trust them. That's how much I trust them. They know what I do. I've known them. I respect them that much. One of those 4 individuals texted me and said, SMU is in, Alabama is out. And my next question was, are you okay with me reporting it? Because I didn't know if they just wanted me to know about it. Because then I could have just said, hey, here's my 2 cents. I think SMU's in and Alabama's not. And they're like, no. They're like, obviously no attribution. So I wrote the tweet, and I know this sounds cliche, but I literally was shaking before I hit send because I knew the impact that would have. And so I sent it out. And then luckily for me, ESPN took 30 minutes to announce it. So it blew up anymore. Guys, I can't, if you want to do an over-under, how many points were scored in the Bills game the other night? I probably had more text in that 30 minutes from people in the industry saying, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? I had coaches, ADs, conference commissioners. They were all asking me the same thing. Are you sure? Are you sure? So, I was sure, but until I saw SMU pop up there, there was still nervous because, again, I'm not in the room seeing the rankings. So again, there's a handful of people that I trust that much, and I trusted them. They were correct. And first time in 11 years it's ever gotten out. And I saw some people like compare this to, oh, it's a big deal. This is like when they report draft picks. This is totally different.
Yeah.
50 people get that information. This has never gotten out. But yeah, it was cool. And I'm sure the 4-letter network wasn't too thrilled with me.
I'm sure they weren't thrilled at all. Yeah. By the way, were you okay with that? With SMU getting in and Alabama not?
I mean, you guys could have me on for the next 3 hours and we could discuss it. I don't have a problem with it. I can argue both sides. I think SMU got in because Florida State didn't get in last year and SMU was an undefeated ACC champ. I could also argue that Alabama should have been in because they have a better strength of record, strength of schedule. They have more top 25 wins. But they also lost 3 games. So I could argue either way. Ultimately, I don't have an issue with it. I actually think in a weird way, it actually saved the future of conference title games.
I think you're right.
Oh,
I think
yes.
you might be right.
Yes.
Because the SEC won't ever get rid of theirs because it makes too much money. But these other leagues, if it's going to cost them a spot in the playoffs over having a conference championship game, they'll get rid of the conference championship game.
Yes. What other big changes do we expect coming up in the future? I'm sure people can't be happy with Boise a 3 seed and Arizona State a 4, or the path. What was the incentive for Oregon to get a 1 seed? Just take it away from that standpoint. You can riff.
Yeah, you're right, Paulie, and we have 1 more year of the current system, and then in 2026 they have to figure out what they're going to do. I feel very confident that they will figure out. They still may give the seeds. The automatic bids to the conference champions. But I do believe they will figure out a better way to seed them. the fact that Boise and Arizona State are the 3rd and 4th seeds and have a first-round bye, and you look at the odds at Circa, they have the 9th and 11th worst odds to win the title. You guys have been covering sports forever. Tell me any professional or amateur sport where the 3rd or 4th seed in a tournament has the 9th or 11th worst odds to win the tournament, and the 5th seed actually has an easier path to the title than the number 1 seed. That is asinine, and they got to figure a way to correct that, but it won't be for 2 years.
Yeah. How would you handle it then with the threats and what Alabama and SEC people said? Would you drop some good teams in the non-conference, or would you schedule up? How would you approach that? But they also did this to themselves because of super conferences and unbalanced schedules. What would you do if you were at Alabama?
You're dead on, Paulie. They complain about the non-conference schedule. Alabama didn't get in because of their non-conference schedule. They didn't get in because they lost to 6-6 Vanderbilt and 6-6 Oklahoma. The problem the SEC has is they believe, and I agree with this somewhat, they do play more tougher teams than other conferences. So when you supposedly have a down week or an easier game like an Oklahoma or Vanderbilt, if you don't bring your A game, you can lose that game. But ultimately, it gets back to how much should wins and losses be factored into this. If we do what Saban wants and we have the top 12 power-rated teams, you're going to have several teams with 3, maybe even 4 losses get in over undefeated or 1-loss teams. Again, we got to decide what's the right way to do it. But I don't think the SEC is going to change their schedule. But what they may do is they may demand that they're guaranteed X number of bids. That way they're not penalized in their eyes by beating each other up in conference play.
That's a good answer. I think they'll say give us at least 4 bids.
I think so too.
Go to 14 and give us at least 4 guaranteed spots. Yes.
Well, what would be the next move, by the way?
Exactly right.
Yeah. So what would be?
That's it. You give them 4 bids and you expand to 14. So that doesn't take away from the non-Big Ten, non-SEC. You give them what they want, but you expand it by 2, so you give the other leagues an opportunity. But in theory, you could just be adding more SEC and Big Ten teams. But if you stay at 12 and 8 of the 12 are from the Big Ten and the SEC, yeah, that ain't going to work.
No, spot on. So ultimately, how big do you think this event gets? You're talking about 14 right now, but I would think eventually it's going to get to at least 16, don't you?
I do. I for some reason, from everyone I've talked to, they don't want to go to 16. I don't know why. It makes it nice and even. I think probably 14 is the sweet spot. That way you can give a bye to the top two teams, which would obviously probably be the Big Ten and SEC champs. But again, that's something they got to figure out. The commissioners will start talking about that in the coming weeks and months, and they've got to come up with a formula or decision to go forward starting in 2026.
Yeah. Is there a game that you like, a side that you like in the first round? And is there a path that you like with a team to maybe plunk down some change here for them to win the entire thing?
I picked Oregon before the season, so I'm going to stick with them. Obviously, their number's not that good. I saw a prop out there. I don't know if it's widely available. I think it was 19.5 or 19, the total ranking of the seeds that make the semifinals above or below 19. I would actually go above that because you're pretty certain number 3 and number 4 are going to get eliminated. And then all you need is one other upset and you'll get to that number. But as far as the field, I mean, I think this is what makes it so fascinating is that, I think there's 5 or 6 teams that can win it. And I think number 5, Texas, they have the second shortest odds. They're the 5th seed because they have the easiest path to win the championship.
Yeah, this is all you need to know about the path. We talked about this before we brought you on, Brett, and that is at DraftKings, they have how many games will each team win. Oregon, the 1 seed, only undefeated team in the country, right, with a bye. It's half a win, overs minus 130. Penn State, the team they just beat the other night in the Big Ten title game, they get SMU and then potentially Boise State if they would win that game. Their prop is 1.5, overs minus $2.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's what I think when I talked to you guys before the season, I said, when this bracket comes out, you need to look at the 5 and the 6 seed. Because of the automatic bids, they will face either the ACC champ, the Big 12 champ, or the Group 5 champ, and they'll have an easier path than, say, the 1 seed. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you could have Oregon and Ohio State right off the bat. And what kind of reward is that for Oregon after being the only undefeated team in the country?
Spot on.
Excellent job, sir.
Yeah, that was incredible. Good for you. And thanks so much for the time today, Brett. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
There you go. Brett
Answer
McMurphy,
at the top. Great
Action
answer.
Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good 4-minute answer, I think.
Oh, it was excellent.
And it was superb.
4 people I trust.
That's it.
I'm shaking. Yeah.
The world's going to end. I believe them.
Yep.
Okay.
And imagine what his phone was like after he tweeted it.
Win-lose is next.
Got a good thing coming. Just wait and see. It's a good.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network. last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
What a weekend. Friday was phenomenal. 3 championship games. How good was that scene with Army? Army was 25-1 to win the American Athletic. They come right in to win the conference, plus 175 to beat Tulane. Daly was great, never a sweat.
Here's why I want 16 teams. I want a team like Army in the playoff.
Yep, I'm with you. They had a great season. Boise, 7-1 to make the playoff. Arizona State, 16-team league, picked dead last in the preseason. 125-1 to win the Big 12. Indiana to make the playoff, 100-1. Marshall to win the Sun Belt, 18-1. Jacksonville State plus 550 to win Conference USA. That was a rocking chair. Easy game. Ran all over Western Kentucky. Most points of the week at Caesars and Will Hill, they were plus 450. The NFL, first touchdown the early games, Miami plus 750. Highest scoring game, Rams Bills 7-1. Lowest scoring game, Jags Titans 4-1. No more Will Levis. No more. There's no need to see any more of Mayonnaise Boy. That's enough.
I got to be honest, too.
He was pathetic.
I watched a lot of that game yesterday for various reasons. You called this right away during the season. I think you're spot on now. Callahan is ungodly bad.
Yep. He's out of his element. Will Levis on the 4th down play, wide open. He throws. How'd he miss that throw? Most points, Rams 20-1. Fewest points, Titans 17-1. Most passing yards, Darnold 11-1. Will a quarterback throw 5 touchdown passes? Yes, plus 350. Most rushing. The news was late with Walker.
Yep.
I didn't see anything on Charbonnet. Imagine what that paid. Barkley was like 3-1. Never seen a price that low. Well, Charbonnet beats him.
I will say this because I've been betting Charbonnet props on the air in previous weeks. The cat's now out of the bag. But early this week, if Kenneth Walker's ruled out again, you need to look for Charbonnet receiving yards. I bet it yesterday over 20.5. It was on the picks page at VSiN.com. That was over, I think, maybe in the first or second drive. They throw to the running backs all the time. The guy's awesome.
Yep. Puka, receiving yards, 14-1. The Seahawks also go over their win total.
How good is Puka?
With the win. It's ridiculous.
The combo of Puka and Cup and, oh, man.
Yep. UFC, Mitchell to win in round 3, 10-1. Leake sub, 5-1. Round 1, 7-1. Reyes, round 3, 10-1. Anders, round 2, 10-1. Pantoja, round 2, 11-1. Premier League. Yeah. Now they get the draw. Man City draw against Crystal Palace, 3-1.
I knew that was coming.
Nottingham Forest, 4-1. Fulham Arsenal draw plus 330. Brighton Leicester City draw plus 320. And Saturday night in college hoops, New Mexico was laying 20 against New Mexico State, and they lost 13-1 on the money line. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com. Watch all the videos at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on TV. Let's go to Greece, Mitch. Look at that setup.
I'm in.
House porn? Love it. Must follow on X. View porn or house porn? I follow both. That is great.
Why would you ever leave your house?
Yes, right. With that, oh, God. With the house and that view? It's out of a movie. It's like Tony Stark's house in Iron Man. Ridiculous. That is awesome. This is great, too. This is a hardcore Steeler fan. Look at his setup in his basement. When they score a touchdown, it's like a club. Shooting off stuff, the music, the lights. This is crazy. Imagine how much money and time goes into this.
Actually, that is kind of crazy.
Andre, put that up at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. I've never seen anything like it. His whole house is a shrine to the Steelers, and then everything, lights go off, music, sparks are flying when they score a touchdown.
Okay, I've known you for a long time. If you go to this guy's house to watch Steelers game and this happens once, how long are you going to stay?
I'm in.
Paul,
I'm in.
This thing, you're gone before the thing is over with here.
I like that. Oh, that is something. That is great. And look at this. Now, how about this dog? The dog will not eat the food out of the bowl. No, get that away from me. So they got to put it in a dish and like it's being delivered Uber Eats.
Come on.
And then, so then they put the food down, unwrap it. There you go.
Off.
Yeah, there you go. It's the only way the dog will eat the food. Remember last week the dog wouldn't eat unless it got the kiss on the nose? The dog refuses to eat out of the bowl. It has to be like delivered in out of a bag. And then the owner has to set it down. Okay, here you go. You got your Uber Eats. Oh, okay.
Get it out of my face.
Yes. College football lose some. UNLV 6.5 down to 4. And then Odom leaves and takes the Purdue job.
Well, they had their chances in that game.
Oh, yeah, they did. Well, the kid from Boise running the guy down and tackling him inside the 10. What a play.
Now, I couldn't believe that was the job. When I saw the news come across, when I saw it break yesterday.
I saw the same thing.
I'm like, wait, Purdue?
Come on.
Just be patient, hold on. I know Purdue was recently in the Big Ten title game. Oh, God.
Stay here.
Yes.
Stay here and win 9 games a year.
Yes.
You already did this. It didn't go well, and you didn't like your life at Missouri.
Right.
How many games are you going to win at Purdue? Come on. You're up there in age. That was a fun run while it lasted for UNLV. SMU +3 to -2.5. Circa was right. Louisiana 3.5 up to 5.5, down to a third-string quarterback. Forget about it. And the Giants have lost 8 in a row at home. All the bad beats. The end of these matches Saturday in the Premier League, Ipswich Town +290 and under 2.5, 1-0 in the 87th minute. They lost 2-1. Leicester City, Brighton under 3 and Brighton -145. 2-0 Brighton in the 86th minute. 2 by Leicester City. 2 come in. Ready to elevate your tailgate game? You have to try Sewell's. Born from a backyard cookout in a mason jar of unforgettable flavor, Sewell's has become a Southern favorite, lighting up taste buds from Georgia to the Carolinas. From ribs and wings to a backyard burger, Sewell's takes every bite to the next level. Order online, Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com. Southern hospitality never tasted so good. Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com.
So what do you want to do with the Army-Navy total this week? They have famously played a lot of games that had no chance to go over, and we saw this total from like 20-plus years ago be in the mid-50s, drop all the way down to, 28.5 in recent years, and they did go over those numbers.
Well, there's an overtime bad beating there.
Some shenanigans with safety.
Yeah, there's firepower here. But I would say get out, if you want it, to get it now, because it's going to move. Yep, get it now. But great game. Tough game. But that was a great performance by Army and Daly, and it's so refreshing. It's like, it's coming, stop it. And he also doesn't kick field goals.
No.
He's going to go for it. I'm going to run it 4 times. Can you stop us, prevent us from getting 10 yards?
Mm-hmm. So if you bet the under now 40, you're very confident that's going to close, 37?
Maybe lower, yeah.
A little bit lower than that?
Yeah, although Navy throws the ball around more.
Right, it's a little bit different now?
Yeah, they had some high-scoring games. But from a side standpoint, that's also tough.
Well, it's gone. I mean,
was it 4?
Well, the look ahead, you don't even want to know what the look ahead was.
Yeah, well, you can't do this, but the common opponent thing, Tulane just played Navy and beat them by 35. And then you saw what Army did to Tulane. So, but throw the records out the window.
What do you like early, by the way?
I just can't believe they're this good. And watching that game, and then you see everyone's schedule, like what these guys do get up in.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It really is impressive. But you like Tennessee?
I love Tennessee.
Yeah, it's a big number.
I agree with everybody that this is the last thing Ohio State wanted was a home game. If they come out flat and slow, the crowd will turn on them after the Michigan debacle. And then I think you got to jump in on the unders. We're looking at several weather scenarios. Yeah. How cold? And as Dan Wetzel said from Yahoo, and we're from the Midwest. See what you see, maybe 20. There's a big difference between 30, 35, or 10 degrees, and that's in play with Notre Dame. It could be 15 degrees with snow. So Notre Dame game under.
Well, the good news is that's Indiana, right? That's their opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, for the Hoosiers anyway, that's not going to affect them in theory. If you're getting a team from down south, that could have been a little bit of a game changer.
Right, SMU could be a problem, but I'm also, you can take the unders though, just because you don't know how bad the weather could be, and it's supposed to be bad on that Friday night, the 21st or the 20th with Notre Dame. Maybe it doesn't go well for SMU in the elements against Penn State,
right?
And then Clemson and Texas too, but I think the weather should be okay there. But definitely Tennessee plus the points, and there's a prop at DraftKings. How many road wins in round 1? 1.5 under 170. I love that. I think there might be 1. I don't think there's going to be 2 upsets. That's a big ask.
Well, can Clemson beat Texas?
No.
All right.
Klubnik was great, but he had struggled the last month of the season.
Quickly here, then. Can Indiana beat Notre Dame?
I don't see it. No.
It's over with?
Notre Dame's too good.
SMU, Penn State?
SMU can beat them. SMU's good. Jennings is awesome.
Oh, man. That Penn State running game it was so good against Oregon Saturday night.
SMU can hold up, I think, up front, though.
And Penn State's backs are electric, man.
Yeah. Well,
and we've
Franklin,
known this all year long.
Yeah.
No, it is Franklin.
They did a good job. They look
sure.
great. Yeah, they did. They look great. But I also, when they get tight and now the pressure's on them.
Yeah, right.
They're expected to win now, and SMU can come in loose.
I will tell you that, man, it's too tempting to me to tease some of these games down to like 1.5 points or a money line parlay. But something just tells me we could get, which team's it going to be? I think the Texas number is gigantic.
Brad Powers made it 14. He loves Texas.
Up next, I'm going to call it a fun Monday Night Football game. We'll preview with player props. I'm strong on one player's chances in this spot tonight.
Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard share their knowledge of sports, gambling, and pop culture on Follow